Storytelling is in the human nature. We tell each other stories every day about ourselves, about people we know, and people we don't. Stories are a form of escapism from our own life and daily struggles, and can be a way for humans to feel that we have control of the world. They allow people to see patterns where there is chaos, meaning where there is randomness.
For me, what I think storytelling does is it lets you live a great many lives in one.
Even before man could write, they would share their stories orally and document them with scribbles in caves. As humanity grew and societies started forming, stories grew with them and became more nuanced and complex. In ancient Greece, arenas would fill with poets and lecturers who would recite myths and legends. Classic tales such as the Iliad and the Odyssey were passed down for generations before finally being transcribed into the versions that found their way to us, shifting from a spoken to a written medium. Written stories have the ability to explore a character's inner thoughts and feelings more than any other medium, making the reader relate and empathize with them more deeply. Storytelling, especially in novels, allows people to peek into someone's conscience to see how other people think. This can affirm our own beliefs and perceptions, but more often, it challenges them.
Once you've seen a movie that has just opened you up to somebody else or in a different perspective, you can't unsee it. That's it, you're done. You're changed forever.
Not only that, written stories rely on the reader's knowledge and especially their imagination, which is why two people will never experience one story the same way. This is what makes the written word perhaps the most personal and intimate medium of all. The technological advancements of the 20th century made it possible for stories to be told in new ways by new media. Like written words, the radio can explore a character's inner journey more thoroughly than other channels, and it requires the audience to use their imagination. But the biggest technological evolution of the last century in storytelling is, of course, visual media. As they are visual media, they usually follow one universal rule: show, don't tell. Cinema and television entertain with images, be it mesmerizing worlds and sceneries, or intimate close-ups of emotional actors. They show us how the characters feel, and consequently, how we are supposed to feel. Being able to curate and control every single detail of a story is what sets film and television apart from every media before it. In a way, it takes away the audience's ability to imagine the world they are stepping into, but it also unites them in their experience of one single vision, a story perfectly crafted and perfectly told.
What it made me realize was that there was an intelligence that was trying to tell a story through where the director, the writer, and the cinematographer, where they were focusing your eyes.
Go left! Go left!
Each of these media has its own unique traits. The written word can explore a character's psyche and emotions better than any other. The radio can reach millions at the same time. Visual media can create incredibly mesmerizing worlds and use images to show numerous perspectives in a single story. But there is one thing all the media developed after the simple spoken word have in common. They are fixed in time, a representation of the historical culture and society, the zeitgeist, during which they were made. With one exception: theatre, specifically musical theatre. Musical theatre is a form of theatrical performance that combines songs, spoken dialogue, acting, and dance.
Whoa. So an actor is saying his lines, and then out of nowhere, he just starts singing? Yes! Well, that is the stupidest thing that I have ever heard.
In its most classical forms, it is composed of a book, music, and lyrics. The book, or script, refers to the story, character development, and dramatic structure, including the spoken dialogue and stage directions. The music and lyrics together form the score of a musical, and include songs, incidental music, and musical scenes.
And people actually like this? Now they love it! And what's not to love? It's such a delight! There's nothing quite like a musical!
The presence of the script, plus the often colorful and fantastical sets and costumes, remind us of visual media. But musicals also have a novel's power to explore the character's most secret thoughts and emotions. Where a film would have to show, not tell, musicals can do both, through song. The music moves the story along, and gives a chance to most, if not every main character, to voice their deeper desires. This is so common, in fact. A term was coined specifically for this type of song, the I Want song. Many examples can be found not only in musical theatre.
All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air. And so it will be
but also in Disney films.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want to be where the people are. I want to see 'em dancing.
Such songs usually have a music tune specific to the character that is often reprised in later moments of the show when they get closer or farther away from their goal, reminding us, almost subconsciously, of what's at stake. Most notably, musical theatre is the only surviving medium that maintains a live audience in front of a live performance. It is, unlike all other modern media, a living, breathing, ever-evolving organism. It's a moment of human connection, every performance unique and different, the book, lyrics and choreography constantly tweaked and improved, so that no show is ever the same.
You have to do what we crafted and what we rehearsed and what we shaped, but you have to find a way to keep it honest and keep it truthful every night. That's what keeps it interesting.
Although some musicals are completely original with a book, music and lyrics written specifically for them, more often than not they are based on a pre-existing story, be it a novel, a film, a play, or even a certain artist's discography. Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton, the film version of which is now available on Disney+, is famously the romanticized but mostly true story of one of the USA's founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton, and his family and friends. Many successful musicals are based on plays, operas, or novels. These are commonly known as book musicals, in which the book, music and lyrics all integrate and serve to move the story along. As a subgenre, a jukebox musical is a show based around a music genre or a single artist's discography. This can be autobiographical, like Beautiful, based on and featuring Carole King's music, or, more frequently, fiction, like Mamma Mia, which was written around ABBA's songs and became so successful it was made into a film with an original sequel.
Mamma Mia, now I really know. My, I should not have let you go.
It is not uncommon for musicals to be turned into films. I could make a whole lot of video on this topic alone, but for the purpose of this one, I will say they are obviously a hybrid. They have the power to explore their characters' feelings and worlds through song, in a way that classic cinema cannot. But they have any other film's limitation of being stuck in the time they are released or set in. In recent years, we often see the opposite happening. Films get turned into musicals. This is not a new trend, but one that has been growing more and more popular. This means finding a story that has been written and shot for visual fruition, taking it apart and putting it back together with a deeper understanding of its characters and themes. It's a second chance to expand on a world that had been seemingly closed forever, and when done right, it can give a story a completely new life.
Well, I remember Jessie Nelson, our book writer who worked on the musical, she had such a respect for what Adrian had written and how we wanted to keep that present and alive and yet sort of expand upon it. So yeah.
Waitress, with music and lyrics by Sarah Bareilles and a book by Jessie Nelson, premiered on Broadway in 2016. The show is based on the 2007 film by the same name, written by Adrian Shelley. Starting off as a light comedy about a young woman with the gift of pie making, the film actually deals with abusive relationships, the struggles of an unwanted pregnancy, and the very relatable theme of not recognizing where life has led you. And that's just the protagonist's arc. Her friend and colleague Dawn dreams of Prince Charming, but is faced with the reality of a strange man who makes up questionable poetry and sort of stalks her after their first date, while Becky is stuck in an unhappy marriage and has an affair with their grumpy diner cook. The musical keeps the film's structure and most of its brilliant dialogues, effectively recreating some of the scenes.
Right near where I grew up, I had a mad crush on this waitress. You made me think of her.
She was a waitress at a shop I used to frequent quite a lot. Nice teeth and small hands and snuck me goodies I couldn't afford then. She was sweet to me, reminds me of you.
But it elaborates on the themes and characters in a way a strictly visual medium could not. Singer-songwriter Sarah Bareilles took the film's best one-liners and elevated them through her songwriting, both with comedy and drama.
I could find the whole meaning of life in those eyes.
in the film, you get to see her beautiful eyes throughout the entire film. You get all these amazing close-ups. That line really registers in the film, but it's like you can't do that sort of thing in a musical. So what you did with taking the idea of the line and then expanding it with a song. I think it was cool.
I could find the whole meaning of life in those sad eyes.
She played to this medium's biggest strength. A musical requires our undivided attention for its full duration. We see, hear, and even smell it.
We do have real apple pie scent in all of our theaters because there's nothing like it.
We can't pause it, turn it off, or check our phones as we are nowadays used to doing most of the time. These are people experiencing things right in front of us, right with us. Musical theatre is inherently a shared experience between the performer and the audience. This is why once we reach She Used to Be Mine, when Jenna pours out all her frustration and regrets towards her own life and choices, we feel her despair right with her, and not only with her, with each other as well.
To bring back the fire and light, this big girl who used to be mine.
Ah, chills. Literal chills.
Another example of film-turned musical is Heathers, a dark comedy from 1988, written by Daniel Waters. The film is a cult classic in its own right, with some of its one-liners becoming iconic and still recognizable today.
Oh, very.
Though keeping most of these lines, unlike Waitress, Heather's 2013 musical adaptation makes significant changes to the original plot. When we meet Veronica, she dreams of being popular, but is not part of the Heathers yet, and is best friends with Martha, a very minor character in the film who gets a bigger part in this adaptation. Most significantly, some of the musical's choices, and particularly its ending, feel somewhat more optimistic than the film's. And that's all I will say for the sake of spoilers. But seriously, go watch the film and listen to the off-Broadway cast recording. The musical had its last off-Broadway performance in August 2014, but was brought to the West End only 4 years later, in 2018, after revising the script, adding 2 new original songs and taking one out.
It's not too late, I'm getting straight. I say no.
Where a film or book will forever be stuck in the moment in time when they were made, a musical has the unique capacity of evolving and staying relevant while also staying true to itself. So what am I saying? That musical theatre is the best and only way to really experience the story? Of course not. I'm a video editor and a perfectionist who loves diving too deeply into complex analysis, clearly. I love to rewatch artistic products over and over again and always find new little things I never could before, which is something many love to do with musicals too. The fun/maddening thing is, as they are ever growing and ever changing, one will never truly run out of material to analyze. I just think musical theatre might be the most complete medium we still have at our disposal. It's an intimate, personal, collective and unique experience that one single group of people shares at one point in time, the same way they did in ancient Greece, thousands of years ago. And I think it deserves some love.
They're going in and they're laughing and they're crying and they're coming away feeling like they were just given something very personal